Hey, how's it going? What's your name? Where are you from?
I'm Mariana and I'm from Portugal. So for me, something that I was a little disappointed, it was maybe, in my opinion, of course, when I thought about South Korea, I thought about like shopping a lot of clothes. But to be honest, the Korean girls, they are very beautiful, they are amazing. But their style is very basic. Like the clothes you see to buy, it's very like basic, like very natural. White, black, beige, no, a lot of colors. I think this was a little bit disappointed. I think.
So what you're saying is there's like not a lot of variation.
Very like clean girl vibes. It's not bad, but it's not like too funny to buy a lot of clothes, whatever. I think this was a little bit disappointed.
A lot of like same.
Yes, all of them they use the same, I think. But it's not bad. It's just like too basic for me, maybe.
Yeah. Opposite question. What's something that's like underrated?
The nightlife here, it's amazing. I love it so much. At first, because it's really fun. Like I think the people don't know how fun it is. It's very fun. I'm not a person who goes to clubs in Portugal a lot, but here it's so nice that I want to go like every week. It's crazy. And also it's so safe, because I think when you go to club here, the guys don't want like flirty with you. They are not flirting with you. It's very safe, I think. It's really good. And also the girls here, at least for my experience, they are so nice. They are so kind. Every time I go out, the girls are like saying, "Oh, you're so beautiful. Oh, where are you from?" It's amazing, really. It's amazing for me.
So you feel really welcomed.
Really, from the girls, really. And the guys, they never flirt, they never complain with nothing, so it's really safe. It's amazing. I feel very comfortable here, very.
Question for you.
Yeah.
I'm married, but I'm curious about, maybe, are you single?
I am single.
Okay, I want to know a single person's perspective. You say the guys never flirt with you. What if you want them to flirt with you? Then what?
Then it's kind of sad, I think.
Okay, yeah.
Because I think if you do the first step, if you give the first step, maybe you have a chance, you know? But I think they will never give the first step. So if you came here as a single person,
right?
Yeah, make a move. If you want to flirt with someone, if you want to have something with a Korean man or girl, whatever, I think you should do your first move, because otherwise if you're shy, never mind. I think you'll be single forever, I think.
So the woman sometimes should make the move.
I think so, for my experience. I don't know.
Okay. Is that different from Portugal?
Yes, absolutely. There, they make their first move. They speak with you first. They want to have a date with you. Like they invite you first. It's different. Yeah.
Which style do you like better in terms of how men approach?
But that's different, because maybe for a relationship, I would prefer maybe here for what I listen for. Like they are more kind. They are more careful with you. Gentle, yeah. But maybe for friendships, maybe there in Portugal, they are more extroverted, maybe. I don't know. Depends.
Overall, you're enjoying your time in Korea?
A lot. I want to come back. If I could, I would live here. Really, I love it here. Are you enjoying also a lot?
Yeah, I've been here for 12 years.
12 years?
Yeah.
You live here?
Yeah, for 12 years.
Oh my God.
I'm old. Do I look old?
No.
I am.
It's not the thing about you being old. It's like you live here a long time. Wow, I was not expecting that much time here. That's
I came here right after university, and I've just been working here, and I have kind of like a career here now. So
that's amazing.
영어로 들으면 어떤 말인지 대충 알겠는데 입으로 말하려고 하면 말문이 막히시죠? 그래서 제가 줌으로 진행하는 1대1 코칭을 시작했습니다. 개인 맞춤 피드백을 받고 빠르게 실력을 올리고 싶은 분들께 정말 좋아요. 아래 링크에서 자세히 확인해보세요. See you in class.
Hi, I'm Henry and I'm from California. One of the things, like obviously like the stereotype of Korea is like K-pop is so huge and massive and like the Korean culture part. And maybe I'm not like in the areas for that, but I'd say it hasn't been like as big of a part as I would have assumed.
Opposite, is there something that shocked you? You were blown away, you were surprised? Wow, this part of Korea is amazing.
I would say like the hospitality and the services that I've gotten here. Like when I first got here, I got a haircut. And it was an excellent haircut, one of the best ones I've had.
Ever, okay.
Yeah, for sure. And like, just they take care of you well. I went and got a massage. It was a great massage.
Yeah.
Excellent service. And then like going out to like the bars and clubs and stuff, like all the people who are working there, of course their jobs to like make sure you like stay in there, but they've all been like so positive and you get free bottles and stuff. So
Yeah.
I didn't like expect that coming into it. So it's like the nightlife has been great.
Sure.
And then like the service of even like the restaurant workers, everybody just seems like to be on top of their game, offering like the best that they can.
Would you say people here take more pride in their job?
I would say that versus back home, like you do your job as good as you need to not get fired. And of course that doesn't apply to everybody, but I would say I definitely notice it here more. That
Yeah.
like pride in the work and pride in like making people feel welcome and like want you to come back.
Hey, how's it going? What's your name? Where are you from?
My name is Nasila and I'm from France. I just saw a TikTok yesterday night saying that the convenience store, like a lot of foreigners, they come here and because it's open like 24 hours a day, they say, oh, it's so great and everything, but it's not that great. It might be a bit overpriced. So yeah, just that, but otherwise it's still a good city to live in, I feel like.
I see. So you were expecting a lot from the convenience stores, but
Yeah,
they were a bit overpriced.
yeah. I mean, the choice is not that great either. Yeah,
okay.
for example, I'm Muslim, so there's a lot of things I cannot eat.
A lot of the pork.
Pork and meat in general.
Sure.
So you have to be very careful what you're getting.
Makes sense.
Yeah, but it's still good. Like if you're hungry, like anytime you can still like
Yeah.
grab something.
Agreed.
Yeah. So it's quite convenient, but it's not like that great.
Fair enough. I like the honesty. Depending on the size of the convenience store too. Some of them are really small.
Yeah.
But some of them are actually like huge.
Yeah,
They have like
maybe,
all
yeah.
sorts of stuff. How about something that was underrated? No one talked about it or they didn't say much, but you experienced it and you're like, this is actually awesome.
I think people are like quite nice and patient. Like when you have a question, even if you don't speak Korean,
Sure.
you take time to translate sometimes with the phone and everything. And
Yeah.
everyone that I've interacted with,
Yeah.
they were quite patient.
Yeah.
And they were taking time, to answer my questions properly and stuff. So
Yeah.
I like that.
Wow. So people are very patient. They're very helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of them, yeah.
Most of them.
Yeah.
Hey, how's it going? What's your name? Where are you from?
My name is Arsani and I am from Washington, D.C. And I just came back from Japan, but if I had to pick the country that I'm coming back sooner, it would be South Korea.
Oh,
for
really?
sure.
Can I ask why?
Like anytime you approach a Korean, they're very open to talk to you. They have like their own drinking culture and it's way more exciting. It's way more open and inviting.
Compared to Japan.
Japan is very shy.
Shy.
Yeah,
Closed off.
closed in. They're holding stuff inside.
Okay.
And there's nothing wrong with that, but
Yeah.
when people like, speak and let out their emotions, they feel better. They feel a lot better.
So you think Koreans seem happier than Japanese people?
I think so. I think Koreans know what they're doing, but I think there's many similarities. I mean, both cultures, they're very successful people and they study hard.
Yeah.
I mean, Asians are smart. Who doesn't know that?
Yeah, true.
But there's got to be a balance in life. There has to be a balance. It can't just be 24 hours school. And that's something there's a problem in Korea. You can't do school all the time. Like you gotta see your family, see your friends.
Yeah. Work hard, play hard.
Exactly.
What's something that was kind of overrated?
Yo, your viewers are gonna kill me, but Korean barbecue, it's disappointing.
Tell me more.
Okay, we went to a bad place. It was a pork place. So it was just selling pork, but I feel like, I don't know, the meat is exactly the same. There's no like, maybe I need to go to a better place.
Okay.
So I'll be back and have
Okay.
better place. Sorry, I think I do have to go.
He has to go.
Hi, my name is Swan and I'm from Madrid, Spain.
What's something about like life in Korea that's like overrated?
I'd say cleanliness.
Okay.
Because sure, public spaces can be clean, but at the same time, you go on the streets and people are so heavy on, Koreans, like you need to do the recycling right or you will get a fine. But people just throw their trash everywhere on the ground without any remorse. I think it was a couple months ago, I was just waiting for the bus at a bus stop and this lady came with a stroller and her baby. And she had a coffee cup, a disposable plastic one, and she was not even finished, it was not even halfway down. She just put it there.
Okay.
Like on top of a wall, and then she just went away and minded her own business. I was like, that is crazy. I feel like Korean landscape is very underrated. Especially, you don't even have to go that far. Even Bukhansan, which is right in the middle,
Right.
it's still a beautiful place to visit. I haven't been myself there because due to like my sports injury and recovery, I cannot do any hardcore trekking.
Gotcha.
But even just a casual road trip, it doesn't have to be a long one, just maybe like a day or two. That is something that I feel everyone coming to Korea should get to experience, especially the Getboy, the mud flats, the wetlands.
Yeah.
That's an ecosystem that it's only found in Korea. It's a part of the World Heritage, the UNESCO Heritage.
Yeah. Oh wow.
And a lot of people actually miss that, and it's not that far from the main cities either.
Hey guys, how's it going? What's your name? Where are you from?
I'm Vincent, I'm from Chile. I'm currently traveling here.
I'm Matt from the US, also traveling.
What's something about being in Korea or Korean culture that's kind of overrated and then underrated? We could start with overrated.
Maybe just like behavior towards foreigners sometimes could be a little bit rough. That it's not very talked about, but that's just certain occasions. But in general, I like the country. I cannot talk bad about it, in my opinion. Yeah.
What I think is underrated and should be explored more is that as you learn more of the language and the culture and really put yourself out there and try, I think you're really rewarded for that, and people respect that a lot. Even if your Korean is far from perfect, going to social events, language exchanges, really networking, you can make a lot of not only foreigner friends but a lot of native Korean friends that are interested in learning your culture as well, which I think is actually really cool and different than maybe some other more closed off, less kind of open culture, which I think of like Japan or maybe other parts of Asia.
It's easy to network, it's easy to make friends in Korea.
Yeah, 100%. Compared to many other places I've visited, provided you put yourself out there and try, definitely you can make a lot of friends here.
So I hear what you're saying, it's easy to network, it's easy to make friends here. I've also heard on the other end that it's kind of hard to be accepted fully into Korean society. How do you reconcile these two opinions?
In my opinion, I always come in the vision that I'm a foreigner, and I know that I don't look Korean. I will never be a Korean, and I accept that already. I think it's okay that people like look at you a certain way, and I don't fight about it. The thing I try to do is make people understand how I think life, and how try to expose my culture to them. I don't want to fit into them. I want also them to see my part, because I know that I will never fully fit into them. It's kind of strange, but I just try to share both cultures and try to make something out of it. But that's
Sure.
Yeah.
That's very nice perspective. What do you think?
Yeah, so I'm being half Chinese. A lot of people assume I'm some sort of Asian a bit, and therefore they know I'm certainly not fully Asian, but can blend in a little, at least in that, we're both at least part East Asian. However, I agree that you're never fully going to be Korean, and that's okay, right? This is a country where it's 94% Korean, I believe.
Yeah.
And so any of these really homogenous cultures, of course there's going to be a big gap between foreigner and native, versus I think of in the US, in which, there are all kinds of races from everywhere in the world.
Melting pot.
Exactly. And so no one, even if you look different, no one expects you or really cares that you're a foreigner. And so I think leaning into that and accepting, hey, I'm going to be different, that's okay. There are aspects of my culture that I can share here for those that are interested. And if people are not interested, that's okay too. I can think of so many people in America in which they have no interest in learning another language and another culture. And I'm sure it's the same here for many Koreans. And,
sure.
That's just something to accept.
I think small things is what makes this country great. Small things that work and that in other countries won't work, and then you see it and you're completely shocked and amazed. When you go to a restaurant, how the service works, transportation, how it always works. It's nothing out of place. Everything works how it's supposed to, as compared to other countries like Chile. There's some aspects, transportation for example, that is not very good, or just service in general, it's not very great. Some things that are here small that makes a great difference in the comparison. Yeah.
And of course the food is unbelievable, right? I mean, it's affordable, delivery is super convenient.
No tips.
Exactly, no tips.
Speaking of tips, did you hear about the World Cup situation? People going to the US, foreigners, and refusing to tip.
I saw a lot of the complaints. In my case, I've lived in the US for 5 years. I know how the tip works, and I'm used to it, but I fully understand why foreigners like Koreans or just Europeans in general just saw the tip and it's ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous. I think it's too much. Yeah, it's just cultural difference that you gotta accept when you go to someone else's country.
Fair enough.
I hear that working here is quite difficult. They work a lot more hours than we do in the US. They have to stay later. There's just a lot more focus on image versus I feel like in the States, in not every industry, particularly some of the more old-fashioned ones, it's more similar to Korea. But I think of at least in like technology and marketing and a lot of these kind of newer, more innovative industries, there's more of a focus on productivity rather than like pure hours. And so I think a lot of foreigners I see romanticize moving here, not realizing that they're going to have to work a lot more than potentially their home country. Without that all said though, I think if you're able to work around that, whether that be through your own business or an international company, it really is or just vacation, it is the best place in the world to be.
Wow.
This is my favorite city ever, and there's just so much to do. And if you put yourself out there, learn a bit of the language, find some native friends who can take you around, it's just so convenient, affordable, and really wonderful. Other than right now, it's really humid. Don't come in the summer. But any other time, it's really amazing.
All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Did you enjoy this video? If so, please let me know in the comments down below. Once again, I'm Sean, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.